the amount of nudity that there was in the first episode and sexual content, I was like, you watch this with your dad?
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Apologetically Me. I'm Maggie.
I'm Wanda.
And we're here with another episode of Apologetically Me. Today we're going to be talking about red flags, green flags, things you'll see in a modern household and family, or couple, or partnering, whatever it is you have. But before we get started, Wanda, tell the people what you got going on.
I actually have a lot going on this week. Like, I was thinking about what to say before I got here, and I'm just gonna kind of say it all, I guess. Um, so last September, I applied for this grant. It's called like the NSERF PGSD for doctoral students, I guess. It's a funding from the government of Canada for $21,000 a year for up to 3 years. And 5 days ago, 4 days ago, I got the grant or
Congrats!
award. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'm very pumped
Woohoo!
about it because free money.
What are you gonna give me this money?
They actually like were pretty quick with it. Like the universe, like I had to submit a form to the university and like the offer letter, and then it was in my student account, like because they split it up per semester. So I think it's $7,000 per semester, and then the university gives me a $1,667 top up per semester as well. So then that was already in my student account like a day after I sent the form in, which is like I've never seen the government or the university ever move this quickly before
Oh.
in my life.
Hmm.
But it sucks that it's in my student account because now I have to like submit a form to get that refunded to my bank account, I guess,
Hmm.
because now there's like an extra charge on my student account. So that's the
Oh.
one annoying part, but really quick, way faster than I thought it was going to be. Very
Oh,
excited.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yay!
I'm all about
Very,
that hustle and grind, multiple income sources, you know?
very, very proud of you.
Thank you. I am very proud of myself too. Also, I didn't tell you because I was just like, I'll just tell it on the pod.
Wow. So this is what we've come to, huh? Saving all our good news,
Well,
bad news for the pod. Pod comes
but
first.
it's also but it's also like I like what am I supposed to do? Like just slip it in? Like I just
Yes.
it didn't come up naturally.
Literally nothing I say to you over text comes up naturally. It's me
That
forcing a
is
thought. Not forcing a thought, but I just have a thought in my head. I'm like, Wanda would want to know this.
that is fair. Okay. Noted. But also like on I don't know, it always feels weird to brag about yourself in some way, right? And like even though it's like this isn't bragging about myself, it still feels like I'm bragging about myself in some way.
Okay, next time tell Jordan to message me. Be
Okay, will
just be
do.
like, I don't want to brag about it, but I would need someone else to. But you know
Yeah.
what it is? Your friends are going to be just as happy. No, are going to be even more happy about your achievements than you are. So I think it's okay to hype yourself up because how am I supposed to know? Or just say like as a matter of fact, by the way, I
Side
got this
note.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not like anything you did. It's not like, oh, you made an uncomfortable environment for me to feel like sharing this with something. No, no,
I
it's not
will
that. It's just more of
I will never live up to the achievements Maggie has accomplished.
exactly. And because I will never live up to it, I can't ever share anything with her unless it's better than what she has already achieved.
Oh my.
Okay, so that's news number one. And I've been holding that in all week. Again, don't know
All
why. Don't
week?
know why I
I
saved
saw
it.
you.
It's hidden. Yes, but it also didn't come up naturally.
I was literally over in your condo. I saw
Yeah.
your bedroom. That's how intimate we were. You made me cookies.
Yes, but also that is way less intimate apparently than sharing this news with you.
Okay.
Okay, so that's one. So that's pretty cool. Second one is we're filming this on Sunday, but the Monday is Jordan and I's 4-year anniversary. This is officially, I mean, it's been the longest relationship I've had for a while, but 4 years tomorrow, when at the time of this podcast. And so I had an idea earlier this week where we were going to get together with all of our friends, and I was like, why don't we do like our own little Korean barbecue session? And so that didn't end up happening. And I was like, okay, why don't we do it for like a faux anniversary thing? So last night I made like cheese corn, and I like prepped cucumbers like in, I don't know, it's a Korean cucumber thing. And then I placed like like an order from TNT, which is amazing, by the way. Everyone go order from TNT. It is actually quite good. Like I'm surprised because like I think it cost us like $4 in total for like shipping, handling, whatever, to get it like the next day, like in
Wow.
a little bit less than 24 hours. Yeah.
I was gonna say, is
The
there a
only
TNT near you? What the heck?
they're in Kensington.
Ah, okay.
Mhm. But we purchased pork shoulder butt and we purchased some beef finger meat, which I learned out is not from the fingers of cows, is from in between the ribs of cows. So
That somehow
you're
makes me
welcome
more
for this one.
upset. But I guess it makes
Why?
sense because cows don't have fingers. They have hooves.
So before you're just like, yes, this is definitely finger
Fingers.
meat.
Yeah. That's so funny. I just never questioned it until now. I was like, finger meat, fingers, yes.
I think every time I've gotten it, I've been like, where the fuck is the finger on the cow?
Fingerling, gross.
Yeah. But yeah, so all of that prepped for tonight, got lettuce and everything. Also got like milkus, honey butter chips because I've been craving that
Hmm.
for a while. Got ice creams,
Ice
the whole
cream.
shebang kind of thing. Yeah, like I think Asian superstores or like Asian stores just have better ice cream
I
options than
agree.
what we have. So I got this like waffle thing with like ice cream on the inside, and there's also like white chocolate chips. Um,
Ooh.
yeah. And I got this like taiyaki with like red bean and
I
ice
love
cream in
those.
it. Yeah. So super excited for that. And so that's happening tonight. I guess I'll update everyone how my anniversary went next time. But
Nice.
yeah.
Aw.
So yeah, that was my second thing. We've also been playing Pokemon Stadium all day and Mario Party, the older versions, because somehow Jordan found like an emulator of some sort to be able to like play those games. So that's been like a very fun, nostalgic thingy-majiggy that we've been doing.
Aw. Anniversary
Yeah.
day. Celebrated
Yeah.
technically a day early because neither of you would take the day off.
So at first I would have blamed him because he was like to his team, he was like, no one take this week off. And like this week as in the week that our anniversary falls on. So then he was like, well, I can't take any time off because of this thing. But then I like made him feel bad about it and everything. He was like, should I take it off? But then I found out the intern at work is starting on Monday and we're having an Uber Eats lunch in
Ooh.
celebration. Yeah, and I was like, I'm not missing out on my $20 Uber Eats voucher. So I am gonna go to this.
I respect that.
So yes, we both decided that we would not take the day off, but we might do something in the afternoon. Who knows? We might have a lot of leftover meat left because we bought 4 pounds of beef finger meat, and it only allowed you to buy 4 pounds,
Oh
okay?
my.
Um, and then we bought 2 pounds of pork shoulder butt for $5 because it was on sale
Wow.
this week at
Hmm.
TNT. Yeah.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah. What are you doing? What are you up to this week? What has happened?
Well, nothing has happened until of this morning. I went to my mother's house over the weekend and I made a silly mistake of using my prescription acne cream that my dermatologist had prescribed me over the summer. And I remember using it and then I stopped using it. And then I've been starting to get like little breakouts again. And my mom like keeps pointing them out and she's like, so, why are you breaking out on your forehead? Are you eating greasy foods? And I'm like, no, they're not actually pimples. It's just I don't know. I don't know what's happening. It's just a big pore becoming a pimple. Nothing else I can say, Mom. And then, anyways, so I tried out the prescription cream. And then I woke up this morning with very swollen eyes. I am still quite red now. And yeah, so I actually saw Gabby this morning, and I saw my mom this morning, and neither of them really said anything. Well, Gabby was like, "Oh, wow, are you okay?" And then my mom was just kind of like, "Why did you use that cream? This happened to you last time." And I was like, side effects include long-term memory, Mom. I don't remember. And then, yeah. So then I was supposed to go to a baseball game, actually, with my work as a work social, because it was like a thank you for like this big event that we all like worked on. And I was so excited to go because an executive booth, like they have official tickets and everything. And then for the other extra tickets they had, they like raffled them off to people to bring their kids or whatever. And they were going to have food and everything. And I like didn't care for baseball, and I was already telling people this leading up to it. And I was like, oh, I don't care for baseball. I'm coming for the free food and to socialize. So then I was rushing back to Toronto. I was literally walking to the subway. And I was kind of getting like weird looks, and I was like, just in case, I'm gonna snap a picture to Wanda and Prabby just to see like how bad it looks. So I sent it to them, and both their reaction was like, what's going on with your face? And I was like, oh, so it is bad. And then yeah, so then I was like, oh, maybe I should not go. And then Wanda was like, yeah, if I were you, I would not go. And I was already like, oh, I didn't really want to go anyways, because I was like trying to hype myself up in the mirror before going. So yeah, so then I bailed, and I felt bad because I bailed 5 minutes beforehand, and I missed out on the food and stuff. But that's okay. Sometimes I don't want to be embarrassed. Yeah, I made a pro-cons list, and I just feel like the cons outweigh the pros in the sense that, like, I would just not be having fun because I'd feel so self-conscious, and I feel like everyone's staring at me. Even though it doesn't look like super bad, like not as bad as it was maybe an hour ago, but I'm definitely very close to ODing on allergy pills. Anyway, that's my update. I've already taken 2. They're very heavy. They're prescription strength strong.
Yeah. I want to say that when I took one of those, or at least whatever your brother gave me, which I assume is kind of similar, it kind of like knocked out my cat allergies like completely. So,
That's the one. Hey,
well,
they're $50, so
like you can just get them without.
no, you need a prescription.
Oh, I was hoping you could just like buy it like Reactin or something.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's less fun. And are you going to throw out this tube of allergy causing cream?
No, because it was $200.
And how much of the $200 did you pay?
Maybe $10. Something along that
So,
line.
but why not? Like, why you barely paid any money for it? It causes a very severe allergic reaction such that it's very visible on your face.
Yeah, I'm thinking
You,
if like I don't have anything planned for the day afterwards and my acne is bad, then I can apply it and just be okay with and just stay inside all day.
you know, like allergies are like not good, right? Like you shouldn't like purposefully give yourself an allergic reaction
Beauty
because
is pain.
not like, but you can die from allergic reactions.
If I take that prescription strength allergy pill, I counteract it. I don't take it very often, once a year. Well, I only took it this second time because I literally forgot what happened the first time. But I hope this is a reminder to myself because it ruined a work event that I wanted to go to.
Didn't it expire?
No, didn't
Okay.
expire till this year.
Okay.
Like
So you
end of
don't really
this
have
year.
that long
Yeah.
with it anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. When I saw your face, I was like, oh my, that is definitely an allergic reaction. And the reason why I wouldn't have gone if I was you was because I wouldn't want people to talk to me about it and like point it out that this was happening to my face. Because people always seem to not realize that you know what's happening with and decide that you need to definitely know this situation. But I guess they're just
Mm-hmm.
trying to take care of you. Like they're trying to make sure that you're okay. But it's just a conversation that I would have wanted to avoid.
I could already see it playing out. Like everyone
Mhm.
there. There's 30 people there in that box, and I can already see all of them taking turns asking me. And there were like a few people there who I kind of wanted to meet because they're like higher up, and I already know
Mhm.
they would just be staring into my eyes in a bad way. No, in the sensual good way that I wanted for networking, in the bad
Gross.
judging way.
Gross. Both are gross.
Yeah. So that's my fun little update. Um, Nothing else going on. What's your beef or crush of the week?
I don't really have much to beef about this week. I guess I have to say a crush, but it's like I don't know. There's so many things, so many like nice things. Like I could say like crush on Jordan for setting up that nostalgic situation. And I think that is very sweet of him to do because he apparently went to bed, had an idea, and then woke up in the morning and decided to execute it. But I also just remembered I watched a video that I forgot to send to you about the whole rewatch podcast trend that has been going on. And I've been complaining about this a lot recently with the whole like Wizards of Waverly Place and like Ned's Declassified podcasts and stuff like that. And turns out they are owned or run by the same company, Podco. And Podco's partner, I guess, was on Even Stevens.
Hmm.
She played the female. I never watched Even Stevens, so that's about as much as I know. So that's why their sets look so similar because I always look at the sets and I'm like, these are very same. And we originally fear like it wasn't Disney because they always like kind of talk shit about Disney while they're there. Also, apparently Ned's Declassified was on Nickelodeon, which I didn't really realize. But I think it's a
Wait,
Disney
I knew
Channel
this.
show.
It is a Disney Channel show. I think you're right.
But they always
Huh.
talk about how they were on Nickelodeon because they always make Dan Schneider jokes.
Hmm. Like something about the show definitely didn't feel like Disney.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of strange. But I think overall, my thoughts, but for like rewatch podcasts is like I like them. You know what? I think it's a cash grab. I think it's nostalgic bait, but you know what? It's kind of nice to like go back to that period of time in your life. Like I started listening to Ned's Declassified and I never even watched the show. Like I couldn't get into it as a kid. While I never watched Ned's Declassified as a kid, it's making me want to watch Ned's now because of just how close and how good of an experience, I guess, all the main cast had on the show. So it almost like takes me back to that period of time where like life was like truly nice and happy because it takes you back to when you were a kid. And some like people don't seem to like it like because it feels so much like a cash grab or like a an effort to reboot a show that they think should just die because reboots are like never ever good. But you know what? I'm honestly fine with a reboot. I'd watch it. I know with Wizards, there was the whole fiasco where the executive producer got removed or fired basically after season two or season three. So the show didn't end how like he imagined it to end when at the beginning. So like I would like to see that play out in a way and like what the future holds for everyone. I don't know. It's just nice catching up with your favorite childhood stars, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely see the nostalgia behind it, but definitely my first thought when I see them doing all these like reboot podcasts, I'm like, "Oh my god, they're just trying to find ways to stay relevant. They couldn't get jobs and now
Mhm.
they're just trying to do something else." Which I think like is also true. But
Yeah,
I think it's like totally fine too to revisit it because I like it when they had like Selena Gomez on, for example. I thought that was fun. I would think she should be on more episodes because I would only watch it if they had someone famous of that caliber. Sorry. I still listen to the podcast, but I think it made it more fun because I like
I
hearing her
disagree.
side. You know, I'm
I
no, I stand by what I said. I still think it'd be
mm,
way better if they had someone super famous on. Not all the time, but the fact that she makes the time to like show how humble she is and hang out with people
oh my
like
God.
Harper and Jerry Russo, you know?
I actually think it's the exact opposite. I think that if they were more famous, I would actually like it a lot less. But because the podcasts feel more relatable, I guess because they're like, yes, they're famous, but they're famous adjacent, where it's like they might not necessarily get recognized in the street. Like they won't get like swarmed with like paparazzi and things like that. And like the lives that they live feel more normal and like the more, yeah, it's just definitely more relatable. And I know a lot of them do complain about how they thought that they would get more work after like the show that they were on. So like, yeah, I'm fine with that. But also, would you not do the same thing?
If I couldn't find work, 100% I would.
Yeah, like if you, let's say you were like a child star on a show, you thought you were going to have a great career after that, didn't really pan out. Someone offers you to do a podcast about the successful show that you were once on, you would definitely do it.
Yeah, I think get that bread.
Yeah,
There's
I
that
agree.
meme of that girl being like, listen, I was an employee. And you would do it too for a change. Something like that. But basically, the whole point was I do anything for money. You would do the same as me. And I still stand by that. I totally would. It's just my thought is more famous people on and
Mm.
sad you couldn't get work. Judging you a little bit, but I'll still listen to your podcast.
You can watch like the New Girl podcast where the people
Ah,
on there are semi-famous and there's 206 episodes.
holy. No. Like they just I mean, I don't know. Like maybe I will, but I just feel like I don't want to listen to so many rewatch episodes. Like I think The Wizards was the only one I would really do. Um I don't even think I finished Wizards, so I don't know what appeals to me about it. Like I didn't know about the ending
Nostalgia.
until like my brother had to tell me.
Mm, fair. Maybe. Yeah. I think it's just like there's different vibes though. Like I think with Wizards it's very much so like looking back on the episode, actually kind of talking about the behind the scenes. But then with Ned's, it's very like tangential. So like they were talking about this bathroom episode or something, and then somehow it went into, yeah, I just pulled over into an alley and it was like peeing in the alley. And then there's another one where it's like, do you just put your butt to the ground when you poop? Or like do you dig a hole to poop in? And then it was like it's like if you looked in, like if these three friends were having a conversation and you just put a mic there and like you're listening to like their behind the scenes like conversations that they would just have. And that's what I like there's very two different ways I guess you can have like a rewatch app like podcast. I think I like the Ned's way better
Hmm.
because they're a little bit crazy.
Interesting. Um
Yeah, recommend.
So you're saying we should do a rewatch of our episodes.
Yes, as we near our 100th episode, we should rewatch every single one for from 101 to 200.
Very meta of us.
Yeah,
Real ones will know.
yeah. That is content though for
Mm-hmm.
100 episodes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is your beef or crush of the week?
My beef is oh man, I had a crush, but I'm changing it to a beef because of a Facebook post I just read. Um my beef is the show Beef. Well, it's
Mm.
kind of been, I think you've seen it too, and it's been talked a lot on the internet about this character um, on the show, Isaac. He is kind like a supporting member. He is the cousin of Steve Yun
Oh,
Yun in the show. But in real life, he is a comedian artist named David Cho. And David Cho had a very problematic past. As a comedian, he, for some reason, felt the need to joke about sexual assault and told two stories, I think, about how he basically forced sex on a black girl and then a black masseuse. And at the time, I remember I didn't actually watch it. I was just reading like a recap of what happened because I wanted to know. And at the time, he was with another comedian. I don't know what she is, but she's known for doing porn. I want to say her name is Asa Akira. She
mhm.
was okay. So Asa Akira called him out on stage and was like, "That's you know that's rape, right? And he was just like kind of laughing it off. And this was in 2007 or 2017. I want to say 2017. I could be wrong. Someone fact check me. But anyway, he kind of made an apology, but not really. And like people were unhappy with it. Like a lot of comedians and artists like refused to write reviews or like work with him. So he was kind of like blacklisted for a little bit. And then he was cast in this, and it was like a resurge of his fame. And then all this stuff came out again. So they're like, why did he get cast in this? It's the friend word for nepotism, but I forget what it's called. So they were like, why did they cast him? Like, and they were calling on Ali Wong and Steve Yeun and the director to be like, what do you have to say about David Cho? And all three of those people were kind of like dismissing it. They were like, you know, like it's in the past. He's apologized already. Like, let's move on. And everyone is very upset about how those three responded. Like such like face front, and like how representative this show is supposed to be, because it's supposed to be like, oh, representing the new millennium, the new generation of Asian American. Like it's supposed to be a really milestone show. And they're like, all this stuff is getting clouded by David Cho. So it's kind of like the actors and stuff don't want to talk about it. They want to focus on the good stuff. But then it's also like you can't dismiss what David Cho did without all this stuff. So it's more like David Cho should come out and have a better apology, I guess. And I'm disappointed because I did like that show. That show was super messed up, and I couldn't stop thinking about it for like 5 days after watching it. And I just feel like his character in the show was very problematic, so now I am transferring that to the real life person.
That's fair. And I know you not brought up, but maybe we talked about this, but like the whole Bill Hader, Ali Wong situation, but like they had like a bleh, pop paparazzi walk or whatever. I don't know why that word was so hard to say, but they say that she did that because of the like she wanted to move away from the allegations against
David Cho.
what's his name? David Cho.
Yeah, I mean that could be very much be it, because yeah, it is like very like when you type in beef, like you can't get anything without David Cho there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, I guess that kind of sucks. So they are trying to do their little PR work.
Yeah, but also like they could come out and just say something about it. Like they've kind of just ignored it mostly,
Yeah.
and they were the ones who invited him to be on the show. Like he wasn't cast originally, but because I guess the familial connection and stuff, or like friend connection, like he got on the show. Like there was no reason to have him on the show.
Yeah. Like I think they could have had, you know, Ken Jeong play the crazy cousin.
Oh, yes.
I love Ken Jeong. He would have been great.
Oh, yeah, so unproblematic, you know? Like he's been an actor for this long and
Yeah.
nothing's really come out.
And there just would have been like so many other Asian actors, like so many other people with potential to play the cousin, because Steve and David don't even look anything alike. So it's okay. They could have cast anyone, maybe up and coming actors. Like the one who was cast as Steve Yeun's I can't say his name. Steve Yeun's brother. He was an up and coming actor. I heard his struggle with Hollywood. It was great. They could have done something like that. They didn't need David Cho in there. And like they just were not addressing the issue that David Cho kept using Black women as the object of his stories, of his sexual assault stories. They were fake, but it's still like, why Black women? Like, why did you have to fake this? Why did you think it was funny? So many issues. He's my beef on beef.
Do you remember someone named David So?
Yes.
Yeah. He is also problematic. So there's something with Asian men named David.
David Choi. Better keep it tight.
Oh my God, I forgot about David Choi. Wonder what he's up to these days.
Hopefully still singing.
Yeah, but he was like old then.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised all those Asian YouTubers are still around, because I'm like, whoa, in my head, you guys were like 30, 40 years old. How are you still alive now?
I'm glad you brought it up.
For a show I will endorse is Ugly Betty. Ugly Betty walked so that Jane the Virgin could run.
Oh, God, I kind of want to like I re remember seeing on Disney Plus recently, and I was like, oh my God, I should start it. And I keep forgetting every single time. I just started watching Shameless, and that has so many seasons.
I actually cannot stand Shameless. Like, I've only seen clips of it on TikTok and YouTube shorts or
Hmm.
whatever, and every time I watch it, it's so stressful to me. So I'm like, I don't need to watch this to like cloud my brain. I'm just gonna keep watching happy things that won't happen in real life.
But also, as a fun fact, so I brought up the like Shameless because I also kept on seeing shorts about Shameless, and I was like, this looks kind of good. And it features a character that Jordan likes from the show called Bear.
The
And
main guy, I
Jordan was
love
like,
Lip.
yeah. Jordan was like, yeah, I think I watched a few episodes with my dad. And I was like, oh, cool, whatever. And then we watched the first episode. The amount of nudity that there was in the first episode and sexual content, I was like, you watched this with your dad? And he was like, yeah, I remember watching this episode in particular with my dad. There was a naked penis. There
They
was
show penis?
pegging.
Pegging?
Yeah, there's like there's like they don't actually show the pegging, but there is pegging. Like there's the
Uh-huh.
implication of pegging. They have sex on the kitchen floor. So they show a bare butt and boobs. There is pictures of like naked women and naked men in various sexual acts. Um,
How old was Jordan?
I think yeah, he was like in high school.
This is still not okay to watch with your parents.
Yeah. I was like, how did you not just get up and leave at this point? He was like, oh, I probably like looked at my phone or something and like didn't really pay attention afterwards. But I'm like,
His dad was
my mom
full
would
on paying
literally,
attention.
my mom would literally be like, well, cover eyes, like don't even look at kissing scenes. And he's like full on watching like porn.
That's so funny. Good beefs, good crushes. So moving on to our red flags, our green flags of having a family, household, whatever it is, whatever a household is to you. Um, could be one person, two people, family, kids. I don't know. I'm trying to define it to like capture everyone, but I think I'm doing the wrong thing.
How do you have red flags if you're the only person living in your household?
If another person's secretly living with you, I don't know.
Okay, that sh movie show that won an Oscar that year, that Korean
Parasite.
Parasite, thank you. Do you think it's a red or green flag if your partner wants you to change your last name to theirs?
um, hmm. I feel like it could be either or. I mean, like, I don't mind, but I'm also like, why do you want to force? No, you know what? I feel like it's a red flag. Like, why do you want to force me to do that? I feel like it's kind of weird. I want him to want me to do it.
What does that mean?
Like, he should not force me to do something or, like, say, I really want you to do it. He should just be like, do what you like. This is my preference, but I am okay with anything you want to do.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I understand that now.
So I feel like it's almost a red flag.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think it's a red flag because I think in the end it's your name.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is not walking around with, I mean, he is because it's his last name, but he like it's like why is the responsibility on the female to change
Yeah.
her last name? Like we are modern women. We
Yeah.
do not need to take someone's last name. But that doesn't mean like you don't like you can. Like you
Mm-hmm.
if you want to, you can. But like never going to change my last name except for the situation where I am not getting a lot of job interviews, then I might change my last name on my resume to Jordan's last name, which is very white.
Nice.
It's unfortunate, but
Unfortunate, but I understand.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be like I don't have any attachments to my last name in particular, but I would definitely be weirded out if Nick was like, you have to change it to my last name. I'd be like, whoa, whoa,
Mhm.
whoa. Why?
Yeah. I remember someone saying like, oh, it means like they're not committed to the relationship, like if they won't even think about
Yikes.
it, or like they can hyphen it, but like it needs to be something, I guess, that the female needs to consider. But also, it's like, why don't you both change your last name then if it's
Mm-hmm.
something that's so important to you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do want to know that if I'm going to change it, like Nick would be happy. He'd be like, "Yay, like that's so nice that you're doing that." So like I want him to also show interest in me changing it, not being like, I don't care if I change it. I'd be like, "Hey, I just changed my whole identity for you."
Damn. Do you have you talked to Nick about this?
Yeah, we talked about it.
What are his thoughts on it?
He said it's completely up to me.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I think we did talk about hyphenating, and I was like, ew, no. We'll just keep it with your last name. It's fine.
I just like thought about your last names together, and if you go your last name first and then his last name, I actually like kind of like it. You know, there's like
So
a place called
southern.
Ann Arbor,
Yes.
but like
Yes.
that's what it sounds like, and it's like I think it's so cute.
Yeah. I thought about this too when I said it to him, but I said it in a very southern accent. So I was like, yeah, that's a no.
I like it. I'm for you guys hyphenating.
No. Maybe we'll test it out on Jackie first, but no. Jackie, our dog. Right now he goes by Nick's last name, but Kathy was writing practicing her handwriting and then she put my last name for Jackie and I was like, "Oh, I kind of like that."
Yeah, it also sounds southern.
Yeah. Side note, so in like traditional Japan, like the husband would take the wife's last name if her family was richer than his. So,
Ooh, yes. We should enforce that. No.
yeah, but then like it happened like a lot of cheating because like men would feel emasculated.
Come on.
Classic.
That's an even bigger red flag.
Yeah. Would it be a red flag if your partner said they wanted to be a stay-at-home parent?
My sexism is gonna come out. Okay, well, okay, first off, yes, it's a red flag because I don't plan on having children. So I'm like, what are you doing at home?
Okay,
Like, I don't,
say say you did want children.
I think that if they come into the relationship wanting to be a stay-at-home parent, that's a red flag. But I think if they're willing to do it when push comes to shove, like childcare is like super, super expensive, then I think that is a green flag with them not automatically assuming that you as a woman would take that responsibility of being the stay-at-home parent. So red flag if they're like, I want to be a stay-at-home parent, like right off the bat, but green flag if it's them offering to do it because they don't fall into traditional gender roles.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I think it's totally fine to say things like I want to be a dad, I want to be a mom. And maybe like that's their way of trying to code in like stay-at-home parent. I don't know. But I feel like that's okay cuz I want to be a mom too, you know? I want kids, but I also don't want to be a stay-at-home parent. But I also understand that I'm setting myself up for failure to try to be a working parent.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is going to be really hard. And you and your partner will go through mass amounts of stress and conflict. But, I think if you're both in it for the road, it should be good. And I think, like, if one person is working and one person is stay at home, I feel like it creates, like, kind of a power imbalance. Because
Oh my goodness.
I
Yes.
know we've kind of touched on it before because it's going on in, like, my family, but, like, if someone stay at home, like they're working 24/7, they don't really get any breaks. And the person going
Mhm.
to work, like they're also putting in the hours, like maybe 8 hours, maybe it's like overtime. They come home, they want to relax. Obviously, the stay at home parent wants to relax too. And then it's going to be like, fight, fight, fight. What do you do? That kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's tough. Unless you have a really good schedule, communication, that kind of thing, then maybe it could work. But I don't know. I just feel like the stay at home parent won't be benefiting from like benefits, for example, from work, pay,
Hmm.
like just all these things that's going to put them at a disadvantage. And I know this sounds bad, but I like to think of an exit plan just in case. And if like you were to
Hmm.
leave, where would your money be? Unless you sue for alimony,
Yeah.
but you have to
But
be
if you're in
married.
like a shitty toxic situation too. Like you don't really want to sue for alimony
Mm-hmm.
or like really want anything to do with them because of this terrible situations that they put you in. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in that frame of mind too. Like I think personally I could never be a stay-at-home mom for that reason, where I don't feel like I'm ever secure because I have no backup plan.
Yeah. And I know like some people will say too, like, oh, as a stay at home parent, like this person gives the other person an allowance. And that just sounds like my worst nightmare because I'm like, then
Hmm.
I'm basically a child.
Yeah. And I think if your partner doesn't value stay-at-home parents, then they're not going to help in any single way. They're going to be like, well, that's your responsibility. You're the one that stays
Yeah.
at home. Like, so,
And it's like completely siloed too. Like the other parent will just like either only want to be with the kids for their own benefit or the for fun time, but then the one parent will be like the bad strict parent while the other one is the fun
mhm.
parent. So it's like it's never going to be easy. It's setting yourself up for
Yeah.
failure.
Yeah. There's also the whole like, what happens after your kids are grown up? Like, what do you do as a stay-at-home parent? Like, do you go back to the workforce?
Stay at home husband or a wife.
Mm, that's
But
my ideal.
I mean, Claire from Modern Family went back to work.
Yeah, but it's so hard. And she ended up working for her dad.
Yeah, sorry, Claire. That was nepotism. She was not
Yeah.
deserving of that role.
Yeah. Not everyone has a dad who owns a company. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Difficult decision.
Yeah.
Difficult decision for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not us saying that no one should be a stay-at-home parent, but I just think it's like a more difficult decision that people think it is.
Yeah. I for sure think that stay at home parents are the heroes who do not wear capes. But I also think
Mhm.
to you should not aspire to be one. No offense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It should not be your first career move. Like
Hmm.
maybe after doing a few things, then that can be your final career move. I don't know. It cannot be your one-stop destination. It can be a journey.
Okay, do you think it's a red flag or a green flag if they start making long-term plans with you early on into the relationship?
Um okay, so I have a two-part answer because originally I had thought it was a red flag because, TV movies were always telling you like they say I love you and they do all this stuff with you like they're love bombing you like it's like too fast too soon. So it's a red flag. And then
Hmm.
I remember so clearly when you brought up, actually, that's a good thing. It's a green flag. You should just get out of the way because you know exactly what you want. Ask them if they want marriage, ask them if they want kids, that kind of thing. Um, and then I was like, Wanda's crazy. But then I brought it up for mine. And I think that was like, not that it's a red flag, but I think it's like a semi green flag. Like they can see a future with you. Like you or your partner knows exactly what they want. They want you there too. See if you guys have similar interests. And I think that's good. Lay it out early. But I
Yeah,
see the red
I
flag
agree with
views
you.
too.
Hmm. Tell me about the red flag views.
I think it's like I said at the beginning, too fast, too soon. Like you don't even know them yet. Why are you already talking about having 30 kids together? I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think it's not for everybody. I think it's like, I think I could come off like very aggressive, I guess, and very like into wanting a long-term relationship if I've like off the bat I'm like, so like how do you feel about kids? Like how do you feel about marriage and all that stuff? But I think it's like I want to know that because it's like if we are not compatible in that way, there's no point in me to go forward. Like no matter how much I like you, I might as well just cut it off earlier when I don't like you as much versus like later when I've invested like all this time into you. So I think it's like if someone I'm sorry. If someone can't deal with that, it's a red flag for me. But I also think I'm a red flag for for asking those questions as well, like very early on within the first few dates, probably the first two dates of a relationship.
I remember saying this to my friend, like these long term questions to ask, and she was like, "What the hell's wrong with you? Why would you say that to anyone?"
Exactly. I think that's completely I think that's a completely normal reaction to have because you don't know like it sounds crazy.
It does,
Like
but
You sound
I
crazy.
see exactly what you mean. Like, I think there's nothing wrong to with not asking that if that's like you don't care about that right now, like you just want to date, have fun, do like keep it casual, whatever. But
Yeah.
if this is what you want and you're determined, you're focused on it, then yeah, say it right away. Get it out of the way. Why not?
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah,
like
I guess.
find a natural part of the conversation. Don't just randomly bring it up immediately.
Hey, like side note, do you want kids?
Hi, my name is Maggie. I want kids. Do you want kids?
And how many kids would you want if you wanted
How
kids?
many times do you want to get married? Once,
How many
twice? How
times?
many times? I want to get married 3 times.
Oh my god. You will be husband number two.
Yeah.
Terrible. Oh my gosh, that's very funny. You know what? I would appreciate if someone actually asked me that off the bat. Like, or someone told me that off the bat. Like, it kind of really sets the expectation. Well, I will not continue this relationship, but I do appreciate you telling me.
Yeah, I definitely wanted if there was a time for me to know, right at the beginning was probably the best time.
Yes.
Okay, red or green flag. Like one person wants to be responsible for the cooking, one person wants to be responsible for the cleaning.
Like forever? Like you never switch it up?
Unclear.
Okay. Does one of you have a preference towards cooking or cleaning?
One person has a preference for cooking because the other one does not know how to cook.
Okay, the fact that someone doesn't know how to cook is a red flag.
Okay.
Off the bat. Doesn't know how to cook, red flag, doesn't know how to clean, red flag. But I don't necessarily think it's ugh. So this is the hard part. I think it's a green flag if you like alternate sometimes. Like it's not always one person has to do this because one of them can't cook or one of them can't clean for some reason. Um, but otherwise, it is a red flag if you're always doing the same thing over and over again and there's no switching it up and the other person just starves, I guess, until the other person can cook for them. Like, is that the
Yeah. I agree too. I think it definitely is a really weird flag that you don't know how to cook and that you don't even want to try because it really is not that hard. It's bigger when you think about in your head. Um but yeah. Like I hear couples that are like that where one person just does the cooking, one person just does the cleaning, and then in my head I'm like, "Oh, that's going to fall apart one day." If the person who's responsible for cooking like gets sick or something, what are you going to do? Or if the person responsible
Mhm.
for cleaning gets sick, what happens? Or sorry, yeah, cleaning gets sick. Like I just think you fall into the roommate problem instead of the relationship problem.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's you got to know how to do a little bit of the other thing kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like you can still survive without the other person because there's going to be times when they're not there. And I don't think resorting to takeout all the time when they're sick is like the best thing that
I resort to takeout when I'm not sick, so that's
exactly.
okay.
That is fair. Um is it a red or green flag if they text you all day?
Are they waiting for me to respond or they're just constantly texting me? like they're basically just talking to themselves at this point.
Don't at me like that. Um, does that change your answer in
It
any
does.
way? Okay, tell me both.
Okay, well, one thing, if they're just texting me and just talking to themselves without waiting for me to respond, like all day, not even like because the situation happened, just all day long, then I'm kind of like, whoa, like you don't even want to date me. You just like talking to yourself a lot. Like I'm just here for you to type to someone. So that's a huge red flag. um I don't see how there's a pro for that, so I can't vouch for that person.
You're just like a sex doll.
Yeah,
Text.
basically. Like they have this idea of me that I'm mute. that I'm
Yeah.
blind, that I don't know how to text, I can't read and spell.
Yeah, you actually can't write or read in English. You
Yeah.
can only speak English.
um,
But the other one is a green flag? We're still red.
I mean, well, I think it's like green flag if like you're apart. I think that's nice. Like I think before I was like it's okay, like we don't have to message like every single day. But I think like if you're in like a relationship with them, like you're kind of far apart from them, like you're in which means like you're not in the immediate same room with them. Then I feel like that's okay. Like as long as you don't expect a response back very quickly, I think that's fine. No
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, I just want to clarify. Sometimes it feels like I'm talking to myself when I text Jordan because he's in a lot of meetings and he doesn't really get a chance to look at his phone a lot during the day. But I have spare time sometimes and I send him a lot of stuff. But then, like, so it's like multiple streams of consciousness that I'm sending. So when he opens his phone, it looks like a massive wall of like multiple
Oh
text
my god.
and it looks like I'm talking to myself.
Wanda. This is what you mean because I'm like, me and you, we have pretty normal conversations. But I see now. You
Yes.
only become
Yes.
unhinged for Jordan.
Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you. Unhinged. Okay. I
I
was
mean,
hoping for support.
but I mean, I think that's okay. I guess, like, in my defense, I send Nick like a million TikToks and he doesn't open a single one.
Yes. But that's kind of like what, okay. So when we're apart, I send him like shorts that I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And then I'll comment on like something about the short. And then I'll send him like Reddits with a comment. And then I'll be like, I'll comment on the Reddit. And then I'll like something will happen at work or something will happen at home or something like that. And then I'll comment on that. So it's like, it's a lot of like my own commentary, I guess. It's
What?
if we were together in real life, I would just be able to say these
Hmm.
things. But then because we're not, I have to record them all in text and it looks a little psycho.
I see. I see. I understand now.
Yeah.
To be fair,
So,
me and Nick are like a room apart and I'm still texting him. So I
yeah.
understand.
Yeah. To be fair, even though Jordan and I do not live in that big of a space, I will at least text him multiple times a day because when I'm at the gym, sometimes something happens and I have to text him or I see a Reddit or I'm in the bathroom. All of these things. I'm really coming off a little bit psycho. That's
I think in this context I understand. Now that you have explained yourself a little bit, I think that's better than if you were just starting to date someone and you just constantly sent them so much stuff.
To be fair, I also used to send a lot of stuff to Jordan even before we were dating. I have a lot of streams of consciousness, and if I don't write them down or say it immediately, I really forget about them.
This is fair.
Yeah, which is why I never told you about the award grant money because every time I thought about it, like I didn't say it because I was doing something else, and then I forgot about it.
Yeah. Okay, fair. I see.
Okay. Hmm. I'm starting to think that I'm a red flag.
Well, so far
Hmm.
you haven't exactly been vouching for yourself a lot. So far you were actively like I am two red flags.
Yes. But I guess yes, texting you all day. I think that is not a red flag unless they always expect you to answer immediately.
Yeah.
That it's a red flag.
Hmm. Yeah. I definitely see many issues with expecting me to respond quickly because sometimes I will. And sometimes I will take forever to respond if I am having something busy happen to me. I don't know. Or
Yeah.
sometimes I just don't want to respond. I don't feel like it. I'll come back to you later.
Hmm.
Sometimes I see the message, but I'm like, I can't respond right now. I'm not in that headspace. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yes, I understand you, but now I have to second guess every time you R bomb me.
Oh, sometimes I'll R bomb because I opened it and then I got distracted and I went to
Oh
go do
yeah.
something else, which happens quite
I
often, more often than me not feeling like replying.
Yes. I can tell you for 100% of the time if I open a message, well, that's not true. Sometimes I can't reply.
Hmm.
Outside of those instances, 100% of the time it's because I opened it, got distracted and forgot to reply. It's never because I'm doing it on purpose.
Yeah. Oh my god. Side note, like someone reached out to me for a coffee chat. We did it. She messaged me, thanks for the coffee chat. And I didn't respond to her. She sent me like a nice, lovely long email too. It was so detailed, personalized, and it's been a week, and every time I open my work emails, I forget.
I think it's too late now.
I think so too. I was telling Nick too, I was like, it's been over a week. Should I respond? And he said, yeah, I think that's okay. Better late than never. And now I'm like, oh, I don't think I should. I hope she doesn't get the role because it'd be too awkward.
The most awkward part of that is you took so long to respond, and I assume you're just going to say something like, yeah, it was great meeting you and nice chatting. Like, good luck on the role. Like,
And they're probably
is
done
that really,
interviews for the role, if I'm
yeah.
being honest. Yeah.
Like, is that the worst? Is that the best thing to receive? I don't know. But
Yeah.
also, what would you want in that situation if you were her?
If I were her, I would have forgotten that I sent it.
Okay.
But also, I don't know. I don't really send thank you notes after coffee chats anymore.
Hmm. That
But
makes
also
sense.
because I'm not desperate for a role, so it's okay. Um, okay, red or green flag if they want to combine your bank accounts.
Well, how much money do they have? I am
Unclear.
kidding. I think it's a red flag if they want to combine income, but also they're not comfortable with having separate accounts. So I personally would prefer if it was like a joint bank account and then you each contribute money to it, but the money goes into your individual bank accounts and then you just like kind of contribute to the mutual and use the mutual for mutual purchases, but you still kind of have like the independence and freedom of your own. I just don't like the thought of like combining everything together. Again, escape plan. Need that. Need that reassurance. Even if I'm not going to leave, I just need that reassurance. What about you?
I'm the exact same way. It's funny that we think of escape plans. I don't know if it's like a girl thing to
Red
do.
flag.
Oh, no, I don't think it's a red flag at all. I tell Nick to have an exit plan in place too. No problem. Not that that's a bad thing, but I'm just like, we should both be very independent people too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we should both be two independent people, consensually and willingly joining together.
Yeah. Do you think that they should like if you get married and you could like you have a joint account, but they also have like their own separate account, do you think they should ever like talk to you or ask you about like any kind of like purchases, like especially big ones?
I think it's like a conversation to have. Not like a, do I have your permission? But just a, hey, this is what I'm planning to buy for myself. Because, like, I feel like when you make big purchase decisions, you don't just spontaneously do that. Like, you kind of think it
Mm-hmm.
out, do your research. That's what I personally do, so I'm assuming, like, other people would do that. And I think it's kind of like a red flag if you just impulsively make a big item purchase.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd be sad. I like to be part of the process, you know?
Yeah.
And why didn't you include me?
Oh, red or green flag if they get a drastic haircut without telling you, just letting you know.
Red flag.
Interesting.
I cannot like the reason why I think it's a red flag is because I don't do anything without like telling my partner. Like it's okay. I think I'm a big oversharer, so like I will talk about wanting to get my haircut for multiple weeks, if not months,
Hmm.
up until the point I book my appointment. Like this is something like not a big decision. I'm just getting it cut, nothing drastic. But if it was something that was like drastic, like I was going blonde again, I think I would spend a very long time talking to my partner about it because like I wouldn't be fully sure just yet. Um so I would kind of expect the same for them to do for me, what I do for them, kind of thing. And like, yeah. What about you?
Interesting. Um, well, so like for context, when I originally got my haircut, which I feel like was the most drastic haircut I've gotten in the 27 years I've been alive, was like
Mm-hmm.
quite short, like slightly below my ears, and I highlighted it, and I had no idea I was going to do this, like leading up to it. So it was a surprise to both me and Nick. Um, and like Nick didn't say anything. He was like pretty supportive, but only recently he's come out and said like, I definitely did not love that length on you. He didn't say something like that, but he was like, yeah, I definitely prefer like your length now to like when it was fairly short. Um, and he'd say things like, oh, it's like growing on me. And I'm like, what do you mean it's growing on you? Like,
Literally
it's
growing.
literally growing. Yeah. um, so I personally do not think that it's like a big thing. Like if you no, I think you're right though. I don't think it comes down to like looks or appearances or anything. If you want to get a haircut, great. Go for it. Like it's not going to make me hate you or like love you less or whatever. But yeah, I would like you to just like give me a heads up. Like be like, "Hey, I'm going to go bald." Be like, "Cool. Why?"
Yeah.
Why you gonna do that?
That's the second part of the question. It's like, oh, hi, are you okay?
Yeah.
Did you text him at all, like when you were at the hairdresser? Like,
No.
okay,
I only did it when I got home, and he was like, "Whoa."
damn, you truly, yeah, I could never, just because I could not handle having this news to myself.
Yeah, I definitely did not love it, and I was considering. No, I was like okay with it at first, I think, when all of this stuff was happening, because I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm never going to do this again. Why not do it now? Everyone goes through that weird stage in their 20s with their hair. So I was
Yeah.
like, this is my villain origin story. And then after like a week, I was like, should I dye it back to black? And now I'm like, it is what it is. It's growing out. It's doing its thing. It's fine.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. I can see that for Nick. I can see him saying all these things.
Mm-hmm. It's like he's here in the room with us.
Yeah. Is it a red or green flag if they speak positively about their ex?
In what way?
Not like any animosity, like, oh yeah, she was a good person, blah blah blah.
I think that was a. I don't think it's a red flag. I think it's for sure green flag. I think it'd be a red flag if he like brought it up all the time that she was a good person, or if he seemed to like go into too much detail. Red flag.
Mm-hmm.
But I think good flag if they're like we ended on good terms, they're fine. No animosity towards them. Cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like as long as they don't bring it up constantly, then it's just like okay, like I get it. Like
Yeah. Like go
she
back to
was
your
a
ex
good
then.
person.
She
Yeah,
clearly
exactly.
dumped
Like
you.
yeah. So it's like there's a fine line of like, are you really over that ex
Uh-huh.
if you talk this much about them? So if they never cross that line and they're just like they just have a good relationship with their ex, then yeah, whatever. Ooh, is it a red or green flag if they still hang out with their ex?
Oh, red flag completely. I will not
Not
go
would it
into
just
it deeper. Red flag.
okay?
Just kidding. I just feel like if you're spending all this time around them, like feelings are going to resurface. Like it feels like you haven't moved on, like nothing has changed. Red flag. How do I know you're not
Okay,
going to get back together with them?
hypothetical situation. Let's say they only dated for a very short period of time and it was your partner who broke up with them because they didn't really feel that relationship in the first place, and was just like, oh, kind of just like fell into it, I guess. And then they kind of just like went back to being friends. Still red flag, or is that a green flag?
I feel like it could be a. I feel like that's okay then. If it, like the relationship wasn't too deep, it was just like very, very short term, like very quickly realized we're not compatible. And I feel like that's okay, I guess.
Okay, cool.
I think. I don't know. I still feel like it's kind of weird. Like I would definitely be weirded out if like Nick still hung out with his exes.
And I think that's fair. In this hypothetical situation, may have, or may not have happened with me hanging out with my ex, even though I cut out all of my exes. But except
Oh my
one,
god.
which I sometimes still. I don't like. It was like
I can't
it's a
believe
long
you.
story.
Yeah,
We're not going to go into
I was
that.
gonna say, like, you said you cut out everyone. They're basically dead to you.
Yeah, which is a reason I think why that the fact that that relationship was so different than the other ones like
Hmm.
makes me not necessarily like cut them out. Just like to say I did not realize I was in a relationship when I got into that relationship
What?
because there was never an indication that they wanted a relationship, I guess. And then they were like full force into that relationship. So it was like, like, do you think like someone needs to ask you like, do you want to date or like, do you want to be my girlfriend or whatever for it to be an official thing? Yes, I
Yes.
agree.
Oh my
But
god.
that never happened. I think they just assumed that we were in a relationship, and that sucked for me because I had to ultimately end up breaking up with them like a month and a half later because I was like, this is not for me, I guess.
How do you
Like, I
even
wasn't
how do you even break up with someone you weren't in a relationship with? That's so weird.
on campus, and then they start crying.
This was that
And
guy.
that
Oh
was the
my
worst situation.
god. That's so funny. Oh my god.
But we're actually like pretty decently good, like on good terms, actually.
Oh.
Like, he is probably the one ex I'd ever like hang out with again. I think I did like end up meeting him for like food before I graduated officially. So it all worked out in the end. We are good friends. Not good
Still?
friends. We are acquaintances now, but then we are friends.
And Jordan and you guys hang out together?
No, we do not hang out.
Okay. See, that's what the difference here is. That's okay to be on good terms. As long as you guys
Yeah.
aren't hanging out. That would be hella weird. How does Jordan feel about that if you guys were to hang out?
No, I don't. I don't remember. I can ask.
Hmm.
Yeah. How do you think you would feel?
Definitely uncomfortable.
Even though it's like, ooh, what if they're not an ex? What if they're just someone that
They had a crush
Nick went
on.
on a date with or had a crush on?
Hmm. I think I in my head I want to be okay, but I feel like if that opportunity were to come up, I'd probably feel like insecure and be like, "Oh God, this is so weird."
Hmm. That makes sense. Yeah, I get that.
But I feel like I would strive to be okay with it because that happens, you know.
Yeah. Do you think it's a red flag if they call you pet names most of the time?
Are they calling me pet names because they forgot my actual name?
No.
um, I feel like that's okay. Green flags? Like I don't see any like issues with that unless they're like really bad pet names. Honey
It's a
bunkins, honey bunches.
honey bunches of oats.
Yeah. If they're like really funny, then fine. But if they're like cheesy and gross, then no.
Yes,
But I
especially in public. In private,
oh
sure, but in public, no.
yeah, in public I don't love it. But yeah. Whatever happened behind closed doors is fair game. Whatever
Yeah,
you want to do. You can call them your honey bunch of Cheerios, whatever you need.
yeah. I agree. I think someone saying my actual name, like my actual full like name, like saying Wanda out loud to get my attention makes me a little bit uncomfortable.
That's funny because like I sometimes I try to get Nick's attention when we're grocery shopping. And I'm like, babe, babe, and he just doesn't look up. But then I have to say Nick, and I'm like, did you not respond to that? You only responded to Nick, and he was like, oh yeah, I heard that, but I wasn't sure if that was at me. And I was like, I see.
I would never say babe out loud in public, I
I
think.
mean, we
I
were
think
like not super far apart.
okay. That's fair. I think I for some reason was imagining you yelling across an aisle in the grocery store
I'm too
because like
shy.
how else would he think that you weren't talking to him?
I like strayed a little bit far away from the shopping cart, and he was on his phone. and I
Ah,
was trying to get
okay.
his opinion.
Okay. That makes sense.
I would
Yeah.
be too shy to do that.
About like how far, like meters wise.
I want to say a meter.
Oh. Okay, that is not that
Like, not far at all.
the
And
verdict is it is Nick's fault.
yeah, because he was not paying attention.
Yeah. But also he was paying attention enough to be like,
I heard
oh,
it,
I thought it was someone else.
just didn't
Yeah.
know. It was, to be fair, pretty crowded. So,
Hmm. Okay.
could have been anyone.
Okay.
Except I think I
Benefit of
have a
the doubt.
distinct voice.
I think you do too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he should be used to hearing that after
I
this many
know.
years.
I know. But when he does call me Maggie when it's just the two of us, I'm like, whoa, did I do something?
Yes. Jordan has the exact same opinion or exact same reaction.
Whoa.
Yeah. It he has like a million variations of my name. Um so if he
Your
ever
name?
calls me, yeah, like he calls me like he never like he like it started off as Juan because like that's the first part of my name, and then it turned into like Wong, like WONG for some reason, and now it's kind of morphed into Wongo, which is we're straying farther
Cute.
and farther from my actual name, but it's like the evolution of like what I guess he calls me.
That's cute. And very funny.
Yeah, but if he has ever said my name, I'd be like, "Oh, that's intimate."
What I do wrong? Who is this girl?
Yeah, yeah. Who is like who are you, who is this Wanda person? Yeah, but I also think like if my friends call me by my like full name, like I don't know what you're how you're supposed to address me though. Hey, you.
Now that you mention it, yeah, I don't really like call you by your name.
Yeah,
Very
I
intimate.
say your name though.
I say your name a lot, but I say it to like Nick or like be like,
Same.
"Oh, Wanda said this. Wanda said this today." But I've never like,
Mhm.
"Hey, Wanda, I need to tell you something."
Ugh. Am I in trouble? Are we gonna break up? Yeah,
Yeah.
exact same way over here. Like I'll always talk about you and say your name, but never to your face.
We're such backstabbers. We're so sneaky. Sneaky little people.
I
It's funny because
wonder
like
why.
I can imagine like saying Pravi's name to Pravi because I can be like Pravi,
Mhm. Yeah.
but we
Maybe
can't do that to you.
maybe we just need to get his attention more, and we just don't really like we're just so focused on each other
Yeah.
whenever we're just out, so we don't need to say each other's
Yeah,
name.
yeah, I see that.
Is it a red or green flag that they're not great at texting, but they're great in person?
Mm, I feel like it's a little bit of a red flag because, like, to me, texting is quite important. I'm an online person. I need you, like, when we're in person, I need you to take all that context we had online and take it to in person so that you can be there in the moment with me while I rehash some stuff I said online. And I send a lot of memes and pop culture references. So, like, why didn't you open that and respond to me sooner? So, I think for our relationship to work, you need to be both online and in person. You need to be equally good in both. You can be slightly better on in person, and that's okay. But if you're
Yeah.
bad texting, then our relationship wouldn't last.
Yeah. I saw like a tag for this on Bumble or something, and it was like one of the things was like better in person. And I was like, immediately swipe left if this was me.
Yeah, like how am I gonna know you're better in person unless
Mhm.
you show me what you are like online?
Yeah. Like we're never like for me, we'd never even get to the in-person stage
Mm-hmm.
because I would never meet someone that I don't already click with
Yeah.
online. That's scary.
Yeah. Like I think like I have quips. Like I think I have some wit that I can show off in person and online. So I think if you can't show that online, then I feel like it's reflective of what you are in person. That might not be true, but that's how it is in that moment to me. So I'm like,
Mhm.
you can't even tell me a funny joke. You can't even play along with my scenario. You're boring. Bye.
you're not gonna like in the beginning, you're not gonna spend that much time in person together. Like you're not gonna be like going on multiple dates in like a week. Like that's a lot of effort and you have a life that is outside of this person. So it's like how do you keep up with
Yeah.
someone off the bat? Like you have to kind of text them. And the people who are not good at texting need to evolve into someone who is better at texting because you're never going to pass on your genes if you are a bad texter. Like
How
you're
am
just gonna
I
die off.
exactly? How am I gonna know you're actually literate? Do you
Ooh,
have fifth grade reading comprehension?
yeah. Oh my God. Like, do you use commas? Like, what is your thought on there, and there?
Yeah,
Like, ooh, yes.
but
Ooh,
also sorry to Nick because his grammar and spelling is not always the best because I'm the one spelling things out for him. And I'm like, one of us is more white than the other.
yeah. But also, he's way better at math than you are.
Hmm, also not fair. This is true. One of us has the engineer job, one of us has the writing job.
So
Pros and cons
naturally.
here.
Yeah. I have a lot of like I think texting red flags that I need to like look for. So if they're not a good texter in the first place, like that's already a red flag. I can't even disseminate it down further. Like how many emojis do you use? Like how good is your grammar? How do you reply to things? Like how quickly do you reply to things? Do you have read receipts on? Do you have an iPhone? There's so many things. I'm such a like, I don't know. I think I'm just like a very much like an online person and I need to send stuff. So,
Yeah, I
red
understand.
flag for me.
But also, like, the older I get, the more into phone calls I get, I guess. Like, video calls
Yeah.
almost. It's only because, like, if I'm like far away from them and like I don't want to I have a story to tell, like I don't want to like text all that. Like I've already told the story like so many times to people, I'm not gonna how do I take a screenshot of it and send it without the other person knowing kind of thing. So
Yeah.
that's when I'm like, okay, maybe like a video call would be easier. And I think if like they're so awkward on the phone that I'm like I don't makes me not want to be on the phone either.
I also agree. Sometimes it's just like, yeah, in those very specific situations where it's just too much for me to text something, or if it's like really like instantaneous, like I just finished an interview and I
Mm-hmm.
need to debrief, then
Yeah.
I'll call.
Mm-hmm.
But I the situation is very rare
Yeah.
that I feel like I need to call. So
Yeah.
I do not agree with you there.
It's not like I call people often, but it's like my mother, for example, she is the
Oh,
worst texter in the world. I have to call. Sometimes like Nikki and Gabby, like they will also have stories for me, and I also have, or maybe I'm like it's inconvenient for me to sit there and text. I want to go to the gym, then I'll like FaceTime
mhm.
them when I'm at the gym or something, and I feel like that's okay. Like when I'm on a treadmill, when I'm just doing cardio,
Oh,
then I feel like
okay.
that's okay. Not when I'm working out because I feel like that's inconsiderate. And I'm always sketched out when
Damn.
people talk when they're working out on machines.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair, I guess. You
Yeah.
never call me.
Well, the thing is, we're both very speedy texters, and we see each other like more frequently than I see like Gabby and Nikki. So I feel like you already know all my stories.
Thanks for joining us on another episode. Go like us and follow us on social media, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Go like us and listen to us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And join us next Thursday for another episode of Apologetically Me.
Bye.
Bye.